Bowman here from BWOne.com and Thundery from BoilerWork.com, and this is Tech Shoutout. In this episode, we're going to talk about, obviously, the iPad.
Yeah.
The iPad just got announced today. We're going to do some quick analysis on it. So let's run down some of the specs, obviously. Talking about a 9.7-inch capacitive touchscreen. We have a 1 gigahertz Apple customized A4 processor.
Very interesting.
Very interesting in that. Comes in 16, 32, and 64 gigabyte sizes. 1.5 pounds in weight. Half inch thin. 10 hours of battery life. They say about 30 days, about a month so standby time. And I don't know how that's going to work out. It's not e-paper. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. You have 3G available via AT&T, not Verizon. It's some people speculated.
Yeah,
I didn't even think that was even happening. I don't know why anybody thought that was happening. You didn't see one post on the BWOne.com about that. I knew it wasn't happening.
Let's get down to specs.
But that's pretty much, that rounds off the specs right there. Pretty much there. They're doing a nice plan for it. If you do get the 3G model, you can get unlimited data for $30 without a contract, which they're calling a breakthrough plan. Which that pretty much is. That is pretty much it's somewhat of an industry change. Technically, you can kind of get those on the cheap little like prepaid ones. You can kind of get the same thing without a contract, but still $30 for unlimited data on AT&T's 3G network where available. Which let's ask iPhone 3G and 3GS users where that's available.
Yeah. See, I think what's interesting is the fact that number one, in this case, Apple went with its own processor.
That's very interesting that they went with their own processor. And I wonder what's the next thing they're going to come with their own processor. They have 1 gigahertz speed right now.
Yeah.
I have to think there's going to be a 2 gigahertz or something.
Yeah, will they be using that too with the iPhones eventually?
Maybe eventually with the iPhones. I'm still predicting that they're going to come out with an iPhone HD. They're going to be the first ones to do it. There's going to be an HD 720p recording phone. And that's the only next bell and whistle that they can put in a phone right now. Because every phone has pretty much all the same quality of specs. I mean, granted, I think the Motorola Droid probably does the best video recording because it can do, because when you upload it, it does HQ, high quality recording, DVD quality recording. Check out my videos on that at BWOne.com and on the YouTube page. But because they're the first with any type of gimmick, and that'd be the greatest name in the world for them. iPhone HD, that'd be the savior of all this
iPad stuff.
It's not a bad product. I definitely see. You can see from the screenshots back here. It looks like one of the mock-ups that are made online. It looks like they just took the iPhone and iPod Touch and spread the taco out. That's what they did. They spread the taco out, and that's not saying it's not a bad idea. I mean, it definitely does look good, look elegant, and has that Apple look to it. They picked the worst background picture I could ever think possibly they could pick for that. Why didn't they just go for the little nebula purple thing that they put on everything? They picked that thing. They picked that. That was a Windows background. I was like, whoa.
The thing about it is, device build. Apple makes good devices. Build wise, it looks good. The issues a lot of people, I'm sure you guys are talking about it and seeing it. One thing that just shocks me, it looks like a giant iPod.
Yeah, I think that is the thing
that's taking me back.
You didn't expect it to look like that because that's the mock-ups you see online, and it looks like they ran out of design ideas and said, "We'll just take the mock-up online." And no, no, it's not ugly. It's just underwhelming that they would do that.
Yes, especially from Apple. They always.
You expect more from
exactly, and also the fact that whenever you see mock-ups, it's never what the mock-up is.
Yeah, never.
Usually Apple.
Usually Apple, yeah. Any other company they get close, but most of the time Apple is just something completely that you didn't think of before, and usually a nice, elegant look to it. Mm-hmm. This very much is a stretched out iPod, but and the iPad of all names. Did they not watch Mad TV? The second I heard the name, I said, Mad TV.
You know what? I think they were taking the inspiration from the Wii and Nintendo. But then again, Nintendo leaked the name way early just so they could get it out rid.
Nintendo came out with the Revolution. We were all swearing that was a name. We were amped about it. And then the Wii came out. It was like, what?
Maybe that's where they're taking the inspiration from, and they feel that I don't know. I don't even think Steve Jobs actually explained the naming of the product.
I don't think he did.
But It is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it could have been the iSlate, it could have been the iTouchscreen XL. Who knows?
Who knows what it could have? I think iSlate probably would have been a little bit more of an acceptable name.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people out there, especially even from Apple fans, that are just like iPad, it just doesn't feel expired. I think they could have dropped the I name off of this one. I think they could have named it something else.
But you know what? They are going with the 3-platform approach. You know, I was recovering the conference, live blogging, and one of the things that they brought up was this is 3 platforms. There's the MacBooks, there is the iPad, and then there's the iPhone. You know, and traditionally, a 3-pronged approach has never really worked well for any company.
That's true. That's very true. See, here's where I want to debunk something. It's not a tablet. It's not a tablet PC. Everybody kept saying it was a tablet. Technically, this is a MID. It's a MID, mobile internet device. That's what it is. It takes from, remember the Sony MID with the big thick one with
and
the
even
controller,
what Intel has been trying to push.
The Nokia, the Mamo MID, the Android, the MIDs. Those are
actually Mamo could even be more of a PC. I mean, it does run Office.
but at the end of the day, it's a MID. It's not really a tablet. Apple tablet, like when you say terms of tablet, you're talking about a full-on computer. True. This isn't a full-on computer; it's a mobile internet device, which is like that step below a full-on computer packed into one and internet-centric. And this is exactly what it is. And so it's like Apple does a good job of putting all these things together. You have the mobile internet device, you have the e-reader, you have the multimedia aspects of it. I mean, you're pretty much getting everything that you get in an iPod Touch and that you would get in an iPhone, minus the the actual phone capabilities. I imagine at some point there's going to be some Skype or some type of.
Remember, they did buy I forget what company that does. I just can't remember the name, but I know Apple bought a company that does voice of IP.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine that is definitely going to be coming. With those things.
But then again, there is no camera or webcam.
On a device like this,
exactly, which is very, very strange.
Very strange.
I thought there would be a camera.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost standard. I mean, having a camera on a device now is a
gimme.
A gimme.
Even VGA camera, it's almost a gimme. Like 1.3 megapixel camera is pretty much the flat line standard.
Exactly, and there's none.
There isn't a camera. That's very interesting there. What's the other thing that's interesting is the dock.
Yes.
They have the dock there. That reminds me of the what is it? Was it the Palm or the old Windows Mobile PDAs that used to have a dock? I think HP had like a fold-out dock keyboard that worked with it. It was a horrible idea then, and I don't know. I think it's just a way to get a physical keyboard on there, and it's not a bad idea. It's just that. I'm hoping this is Mobile Me or something like centric where they can just sync up everything automatically and it doesn't have to type in everything.
It probably is the case. I mean, early reports of the keyboard are, from Engadget at least so far I've seen, is that it wasn't as responsive as they thought it would be, because literally it's the iPhone keyboard on a larger screen, and you would think more space, easier to type on, but other reports are it's not really the case. So and also the fact that, like I said, it really. I think that's just what is shocking me, is it's really a giant iPod. Yeah. It's almost like me walking into a trade show and somebody has this big iPod or like a big G1, and I'm punching this massive.
They did have one there. Well, they did have one. They did have one. It's
pretty much running through my mind right now.
They did have one. And I walked up through the escalator. There was a big old one right there.
So it's one of those things where I look at it and I go, wow, I have a big iPhone. I think that's the thing that is taking a lot of people back, because
there's a lot of feedback. There's a lot of interesting discussion about this. And from a lot of people that are just kind of, some people are excited, generally excited. There's a more than what I would expect kind of backlash about this.
You think about it.
I think the expectation of what it was much higher than what it should have been. And then I'm personally not surprised with what the device they came up with, because I didn't let the expectations grow higher than what it is. That's why you really didn't hear much from BWOne.com on a lot of these things. It's because I felt that these rumors that were being hyped up, and it really has been a decade of rumors on this tablet. And I was just like, the Verizon thing, you know, it's gonna have this, that, and Flash, and blah 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 blah.
The Flash they should have had. That shouldn't be a rumor. That should have been in there. I'm sorry. For crying out loud, Android is getting Flash 10.1.
If the iPhone doesn't have Flash yet, I think it's not gonna have Flash. Yet.
I think for me was the most disappointing part was the fact that the OS look. I mean, the OS build can be iPhone OS. I don't care. Yeah, but the look of the OS, it looks exactly like an iPhone. I mean,
I do like that they have the dock.
See, to me, that's not the issue. My issue is this whole thing. You think about it, right? Let's go back to the Courier, which is an example. It's running Windows 7. It does not look like Windows 7 on top.
Yeah, it's true.
That is where my problem is that if I'm having a tablet and I own an iPhone, I want both of them to look different, even though they run the same operating system.
I think that's what they're going against. They want that synergy, and I think that's what they want. And having that synergy allows them not to lose developers. And developers now not developing for two platforms; they're technically developing for one, and adding on something else to allow the other platforms to take advantage of those things. So that's making it easy for a developer. I think that's a definite business development idea. Why they didn't stray too far away from that.
I agree,
and it makes sense because really the SDK all it's allowing you to do is just allow you to stretch out the resolution so you're able to use it. That's smart. That's definitely smart. Like what Windows Mobile 7 is doing, which we all know that's gonna not be compatible with anything. But
I mean, it is very true, but. Going back to minus the hype that people have raised, but some of the hype that started from their partners this week. You had New York Times. You had the head of McGraw-Hill on Tuesday. I mean, this is the head of a company who is actually partnering with them, saying he said it was like a giant iPhone, but he said the OS is totally revolutionary. So at that point, when a partner is saying that, I expect it to be.
I think he was building with the hype. He was going with the hype. Everybody had this overinflated expectation that I think anybody who was involved with the project that was dropping anything was just feeding into, and they knew what it was. I mean, I understand you got the New York Times and all these places, all the New York Times, ESPN, EA games, and all these places.
EA standard.
EA standard. And if EA can put anything, if it's a mobile device that has a graphics card in it, they're gonna put this. They're gonna game on it.
Exactly.
But was it New York Times? What's the other company?
Harper and Collins, McGraw-Hill.
I think
it's one more.
Few magazines that are in it. All these people making all this, they're gonna make content and stuff for the iPhone, and these prices they're gonna be coming out for it. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, they're gonna be charging more than what it costs for out the newsstand. Why are you excited about that? A digital copy of something should be less, not more. That's the whole point of having it digital. And I just never understood people getting excited about these magazines making these things. So I'm like, you know what I can technically do? I can just go right into the Safari browser, go to your website, and read the same thing.
Exactly.
For free. Or basically the $30 that it's going to charge me for if you get an unlimited plan. Or even cheaper if you just get the 250 megabyte plan. Or if you have the Wi-Fi one, it's free.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what they're getting out of this, and then the books are supposed to be going to be more expensive.
Yeah, I mean the books are priced at $14.99, and I just went. I went on Amazon just to check the price of Kindle books. The average price is about $9 for a Kindle book.
That makes sense. It should be under a double-digit.
And also, I mean, I'm being quoted. I will just quote directly from Engadget, who said that Apple is taking 30% of the cut from the prices from the silver books, and it's more beneficial for publishers to go through Kindle because Amazon takes less. And you keep more.
Just for them to make it look like nice fancy paper on a screen, just to me, it's an e-reader, e-paper.
And mind you, e-ink is supposed to be better for your eyes.
And it's just
that's why it was made.
And to me, it's like, all right, they add the e-reader layer to the iPad.
Yeah.
You can get the same thing in your phone. On an Android phone, you can buy an app for like less than that and get those same books. A lot of books for free. That's the other thing. You're only I'm assuming that you're only going to be able to buy from the Apple Store.
I heard they might allow the Kindle app on there. So, which
this is Apple. This is Apple.
This is what it was not confirmed. I guess somebody had mentioned it on the show floor, but it's not confirmed yet. So.
It'd be at least a year before that even shows.
Eventually, they might be forced to do that.
They would be forced to do it if they don't sell any books. It's going to be forced to do it. Well, my interesting thing is, I hope it doesn't happen to this device, but I see this chilling next to the couch next to the Apple TV in obscurity.
Now you mention that. Now, what do you think? And I'm going to pose this question out to you guys. Who is the target market for this? Because let's break down the computing market as a whole. On the very low end, minus cell phones, just keep cell phones apart. You have your netbooks. You have the netbooks that range from $200. Higher end netbooks go to $900, which is very thin, and you all know how they are.
Yeah.
Then you have your laptops, which have a nice range of between $499 up to what about $2,000.
$2,000
or so, right?
Depending on what you're looking
different
for.
sizes, right?
Yeah.
Then you have your e-readers,
which can range from about anywhere from like $100
to I think Kindle is much fun. Kindle and the Entourage.
Which I don't consider that an e-reader. That's a new class that's kind of coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of in its own class. That's why it's priced at about $498.
That's more like a mobile textbook.
That's going on to the courier side.
Exactly. But you have e-readers from that 100. You say 100 to 500.
Yeah.
Where does the iPad fit into that market as a whole, and who is it targeting? I mean, that's my question.
This is targeting, I think, more business-centric and more sophisticated tech users. I think that's why it has a simple interface, why it isn't anything outside of its iPod-centric look. I think that's why it has a store. I think this is more for the older generation who is reading anyway. They're the ones buying the e-readers and stuff like that. It's rare that you're going to see somebody, I would honestly say, probably under the age, not saying that they're not, probably under the age of 32, having an e-reader. It's definitely that older generation that's getting these things. And I think the one thing Apple noticed is that simplicity was the key thing with these. And that's what they're doing with this. I think they're trying to be the high-end market of that, and adding the things that it doesn't have as the extra selling point to it, as to why, we're justifying this $499 or even up to $829 price, because not only can you have your e-reader, you also have, you have your iPod in there, you have your video, you have your browser, you have all those extra things inside of it that the other e-readers don't have yet. But they don't have those things right now, and that's why we're a little bit more of an eccentric price. And then you get the Apple name, and then you also get the nice shine and look. Honestly, even though it looks like an iPod, it still looks better than 90% of the e-readers out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the best looking one that's out there.
You know what? The Q does have a nice.
The Q, it has a nice. But the Q is strictly just an e-reader. In the end of the day, it isn't. This could probably mark up. The Q could probably mark up next to this. But at the same time, not functionality wise, it's not its target market. I think that's what the iPad is going for. I think it's going for the higher upper echelons of things. That's why it's priced kind of where it is. That's why it's simplistic. That's why it's where it's at. They're not looking for me and you that we're part of the digital era where we will just read things online. Right. A lot of people still like to have something in their hand and read.
I read comic books and I gotta have, paper.
Comic books, manga, and things like that. But that's something totally different. That's something totally different. You're dealing with a piece of artwork there, and nothing digital can ever replace that true physical artwork. When you're dealing with books and newspapers and articles and speeches and references like that.
But here's the other side question to that, right? It's going for the higher echelon market with the e-readers and people who, like you said, over the age of 32. Now, one thing the Kindle did very well was make it simple, but make it simple to the fact where without the graphics, it was very simple.
Yeah.
You wanted a book, it listed the book, and you just bought it right away. Yeah. And, of course, you downloaded via...
Apple's kind of doing the same thing with this. They're giving you the graphical and
now,
feature, but that's the selling point.
But my question here is this, is that granted, it's a different style of simplicity. With that generation gap up there where, again, things like the Kindle give them the familiarity and the look of paper than the iPad. Does that will that work well for them?
It will, because
will it work well for them?
Because the company I work at, there's a lot of older guys in the the senior management levels. They all have MacBook Pros.
Okay.
They have no reason on earth to have that MacBook Pro. They don't use the power. They probably just look at the internet and type a couple of papers.
Yeah.
But it's the name, it's the look, it's the feel, it's the bragging rights you get with it, it's the sophistication you get with it, it's the status that you get with it. When you have an Apple product, the price it's in their range that they can see because they're senior man. They're at that level. That's what it's geared towards, and big icons and literally big icons and simple is what it's going for. And these guys, I guarantee you, are the ones going to go for it. Probably, I feel bad for everybody that's in an IT shop, because you're probably going to be here kind of getting an iPad over and over and over and over again. Now that it does email and all this other nonsense with it, and it's just like, I don't understand the email part, but it just seems like just as a tacked on add-on just to say you can put email on it when it's not really meant for that.
Oh yeah, you gotta throw an email there.
It's just like, it's like a checkbox. I call it a checkbox throwaway item.
Has to be.
But as you can see here, we have plenty of discussion about the iPad. We will probably revisit this again at some point. We definitely have a lot of deep discussion about it. Probably let things kind of settle in a little bit, and we'll probably come back again and we'll, some more thoughts on it and stuff like that. But obviously, we want to know is what you think. And the easiest way to do that is post a text response on this video right here on the YouTube channel, or over at BWOne.com on the posting over there. You can post a video response. That's a big thing. You post a video response. We add it right below the video here, and we'll also add it over at BWOne.com so other people can see and hear your opinions about it as well. So for that, this is Bowman from BWOne.com. My colleague Thunder from BorderWork.com, reminding you to subscribe to the YouTube pages. I'm youtube.com/BWOne.com, youtube.com/BorderWork.com. Follow us on Twitter. He's at BorderWork. I'm at BWOne.com. It's BWONE.com. And we were talking about the iPad here. So always remember to live your tech world in high definition.
And always enjoy entertainment.
What memory do you have for the device?
That I really don't know. I believe it's I gotta double check. I really don't know.